Accessing.
When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us on the show, everybody, as we're watching College Game Day and a special edition of the show of being able to watch Nick Saban. Wonder how it is that the SEC, their representative happens to be this team.
What's he whining and complaining about, I wonder? We don't have his volume on.
We don't have his volume on. I kind of prefer
so we can try
it
to
that
sit
way.
here and try to guess what he's whining about.
He's definitely grumpy about something, and he probably just gave the same vibe as that old lady. Get old Byrne out of here. Get Kalen DeBoer out of here. Let's get Alabama football back to being great again. I still think, look, Miami's got a phenomenal defense. They out-defense the best defense in the country. Yep. That game kicks off in about, I think they said the kickoff was officially going to be 5:44. So there you go. The double slide, of course. You would have seen it, of course, on the national semifinal. Mitch Harper, he's our BYU insider for KSLSports.com. He joins us on the program right now. Let's get going with the cut.
It's time to get the inside info on BYU with Cougar insider Mitch Harper of KSLSports.com on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Trajan Wealth brings you this portion of the program, TRAJAN Wealth.com. That's TrajanWealth.com for all your trusted local needs in retirement. It happened during the first segment of our show. We were actually having the discussion, Mitch Harper, about LJ Martin, and we were all like, well, I'd go to the NFL. I mean, you got to jump in when you have the chance. And then at the same time, we all had the same discussion of, yeah, but you'll actually probably get paid more if you stay in college football these days. And then, certainly enough, in that first segment in our 3 o'clock hour, LJ Martin coming back. How shocked were you to see that news?
Not shocked at all. LJ Martin was leaning this way for some time, but it was just, kind of going over all the options for him and gathering as much information, but he runs it back. And I think also, too, the fact that he had surgery on his shoulder last month kind of, indicated a little bit that he was going to potentially come back, because when you're recovering from surgery, it's not the ideal time to navigate the combine, the NFL process. Whereas at BYU, if you need to take spring LJ Martin, if you need to take that off, take it off. Be ready for the battles in the fall. And now he has the chance to really become the all-time best running back in BYU football history. You look at what LJ's accomplished, in 3 years, it's been all in the Big 12, 3-time leading rusher at BYU. He has a chance to do it 4 consecutive years. It's about 1,350 yards away from being the all-time leading rusher. This year, he had more than 1,300 yards. So LJ could put himself as the greatest to ever do it at BYU. And when you factor in strength of schedule, doing it in the Big 12, and what's going to be expected of this team trying to get to the playoff, massive return for BYU, and getting LJ Martin the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. It's a big-time addition for the Cougars.
LJ Martin was the biggest one, but you look at everybody else that's coming back, and it's crazy how good BYU is going to look on paper. We just talked to Shayan Jaraja, and he said that it looks like BYU and Texas Tech are probably the teams to beat in the Big 12 next year. How have they been able to retain all these guys? Because you look around everywhere else, and it just feels like, it's so many key players for so many different teams have jumped in the portal. How's BYU been able to avoid that?
A couple things. They like playing for Kalani Sitake. One, they talk so much every week during a season about the culture. Well, that's showing itself right now, and that's why it was so critical to retain Kalani Sitake when people were wondering, well, if should they let Kalani just go and hire Jay Hill? No, Kalani Sitake is BYU football, and you're seeing that with the amount of retention that he's getting back. And then also the enhanced NIL resources and BYU's commitment in rev share. It creates an opportunity where these guys are going to make some nice money. They're playing at BYU in a power conference. And yes, the Big 12 gets viewed as inferior to the Big 10 and SEC. I tend to sometimes disagree with that, but the level of commitment, BYU's looking to take another swing at this thing. And I think that plays a big role too. But, you see last night at the BYU basketball game, before the players take the court, they're all together and they're throwing down Pop-Tarts, eating. They just seem like they enjoy being around each other. and it's January and all the feel goods, everyone's locking into their new deals, getting ready for winter conditioning, which tends to be the toughest point of the calendar for these football teams. But I think it's a group that likes being, playing and building together, and they're retaining a lot. And I think there's a feeling of unfinished business. How the season ended in Arlington with Texas Tech. Yes, they got that Pop-Tarts Bowl win, but not getting the ultimate prize of the playoff and the Big 12 title. I think there's a lot of motivation for these guys to run it back as well from that standpoint.
Not a shock that Kelly Poppinga gets elevated. That's a guy who understands and has worked with Kalani, and he's got that defensive background of not just knowing this system, but also as a guy who grew up in that Bronco Mendenhall, those great defenses. That was one of his mentors. He also coached with him at UVA. So that move to be able to bring K-Pop in to elevate him to the DC, Sione Puha gets elevated to that associate head coach position. DeMario Warren gets hired. Where does that defense sit right now as the coaching changes and the coaching world with Jay Hill leaving being such a huge blow? Where does it sit right now, and where do you think BYU's defense could be next year?
Well, I think it's a solid hire, and I think that with having Kelly Poppinga, their first-time defensive coordinator, he's been a co-DC at Virginia. But I think what's nice about this hire is that there's guys like Gary Anderson as a senior analyst. You've got Sione Puha, you got Kalani Sitake, who's got a background as a defensive coordinator. So, and also Kelly Poppinga has been doing this now for almost 2 decades. Mm-hmm. He's been a coach in college football since 2009. So I think if there was ever a time to, just promote someone from within, this is probably the spot. But as we just talked about, with all the guys that are being retained, including a Falatau Satawala, which was almost as big of a retention piece as LJ Martin, when you consider it looked like on the surface, Jay Hill recruit, and he announces that day when Jay Hill's made official to Michigan, he's running it back at BYU. But so with higher expectations, you can't just, go back to being a middle of the road defense. You got to take it to a higher level. So it's a tricky spot for Kelly Poppinga, but I think he's embracing it. And with the resources and the personnel he's inheriting that are coming back, it's a good spot for him. And I think it's also a good spot for Sione Puha to get elevated as associate head coach. And DeMario Warren, I think he's got a lot of a similar track record as General Guilford, and he makes a lot of sense. Strong ties to the state of Utah and California, because losing General Guilford, he was an ace in Southern California. You want to maintain that. And I think DeMario Warren can help with that on the recruiting front. So I think it's a pretty solid staff so far for K-Pop and Kalani Sitake ultimately.
How important is the transfer portal now that they've got all these guys coming back? Where are they going to be looking as far as positions? What's the latest on the portal for BYU?
The portal is going to be, so far, it's been slow moving for BYU. They got an addition in Kyler Casper from the University of Oregon. He's been part of the Oregon program for 4 years and really hasn't played because he's dealt with multiple injuries, had back-to-back years with foot injuries this past 2 seasons in Eugene, but a big-bodied. Kind of compare him a little bit to like a Nick Kurtz early on in the Kalani Sitake tenure, 6'6", 215 pounds. I don't know if you say he steps on campus and becomes a starter right away, but I think, he brings competition. If he's healthy, he's a former top 150 recruit when he signed with Oregon back in the class of 2022. I look at the linebacker position, like who becomes the next Jack Kelly. You got Isaiah Glasker coming back. You've got Sialia Sarah back. You get Che Bryant Strother back as well. Very underrated guy. He was someone that was pushing Sialia Sarah last year for that inside linebacker spot in fall camp before he goes down with a season-ending injury. He's going to run it back next season as well. But I think they need someone else at that linebacker position. Cade Ula-Ave from, former Mountain Ridge product at Cal. He'd be someone that you kind of look at and say would make a lot of sense there. But BYU tends to go with players that they have, a previous relationship with or have some strong ties to when it comes to the portal. Roster retention is a huge deal for BYU, and they've hit that out of the park. And to your point, JJ, I think now if you just kind of pair it up with some strong portal additions, this could be a really impressive squad and maybe a team that you could be talking about maybe top 10 preseason AP ranking next year. And I think another spot too that they've got to attack in the portal is tight end, and you lose Carson Ryan. Outside of him, there wasn't much to write home about with that group as far as receiving piece goes. Walker Lyons is out there in the portal. So many connections to BYU. His brother, of course, left for a mission this week. He's expected to be back. Walker Lyons expected to be back in 2027. Walker Lyons has 2 years of eligibility remaining. He could have the chance to play with his brother at BYU if he did end up coming to BYU. So that's another area, position to watch in the portal activity for BYU.
Bear Bachmeier, of course, also in that conversation of people who are sticking around, and he's a guy that everybody is tickled to be able to have for a long-term situation. But how complicated is the quarterback room next year, and how complicated does it get over the next 2 or 3 seasons? Obviously, the Ryder Lyons situation and whatever it might be, you wonder what guys you're going to be able to get in. You have guys transferring out of that quarterback room. What's it going to look like next year?
You've got 3 guys next season. You got Bear atop that depth chart, obviously. And, Trayson Bourget has kind of been almost like a journeyman, you could say. Once a Western Michigan starter, been part of the BYU program the past 2 years. He's not in the portal as of now. So you would think that he's going to be someone that maybe closes out his college career as a senior next year, potentially at BYU. And then you bring in Enoch Watson, who was part of bowl practices, former American Leadership Academy prospect down in Arizona, coached by Ty Detmer and Max Hall. I got the chance to see Enoch during, the fall semester. He returned to campus, and really impressive athlete. I mean, great arm talent is Enoch Watson. BYU has no shortage of talented quarterbacks, and that's a good thing. I mean, Kalani Sitake talked years ago about how he wants to rebuild the quarterback factory at BYU. I kind of feel like with what they've been doing the last really since Zach Wilson, it has been a bit of a factory for BYU, and whoever's there, and the competition is going to be great after 2026. You just keep the machine going. And when Ryder Lyons arrives, he joins the mix. Like it's a good situation to be in for BYU, but Bear Bachmeier returning is a big deal. I almost kind of thought that his announcement of running it back was kind of anticlimactic, just because does he really need to announce that he's only a sophomore? He's not dealing with NFL decisions like LJ Martin, but I get it. People think everyone is just basically going into the portal in this day and age. So he probably wants to just tell everyone, hey, I'm coming back. Please stop asking me if I'm coming back. And Bear's got a chance to, I'm curious to see what growth he makes in his BYU career in games where LJ was absent. The Iowa State game, the Pop-Tarts Bowl, he goes off for 300 in the air in each of those games. And then when he's healthy, he can run the football like he's a legit RB2 in the backfield. So Bear's a unique talent. I'm curious to see what growth he makes with a full offseason too. Last year he arrived in June. Let's see what he can become with being part of the, BYU program from winter conditioning all the way to the start of the season.
The only key starter that we haven't heard post something on social media, I'm all in or I'm back, is Evan Johnson. What are you hearing there?
Yeah, Evan Johnson is going to be someone to really kind of monitor, because I think he's important. He was someone that was, as a recruit, just an under-the-radar 2-star, maybe even a not-rated prospect coming out of California. And, Gerald Guilford identified him. He was a 10-4 100-meter guy coming out of Pebble Beach, California. And he's evolved as, I think, one of the better cornerbacks in the Big 12, 5 interceptions this season. It would make a lot of sense if, Gerald Guilford wanted him at Michigan for Johnson to go. I saw today that, BYU TV was reporting that Kelly Papinga told them today that he's expecting Evan Johnson to be back. So we'll see, though. I mean, because there's still 8 days in this portal window. No formal announcement. I didn't see him with the team last night at the Marriott Center. That was a group of players that were pretty much making it official. They were running it back for the 2026 season, paired with some other seniors who just wrapped up their eligibility. But Evan Johnson would be huge. I think with the cornerback position, though, with BYU, they do bring back Trey Alexander, who was a guy that was recruited, heavily by Kelly Papinga. So no surprise that he was one of the early run it back announcements for BYU. But you've also got, Jonathan Cabella, a nickelback who's coming back. Cannon DeVries is going to be one to watch, a local kid, Weber High School. Jordan Chris, Justice Braithwaite, a true freshman. But that's a spot, too, where probably be well served to get another cornerback or two in there from the portal. But yes, Evan Johnson is one that's a top priority to retain his services because he's become a really elite cornerback for BYU in that secondary.
Not often you get to talk about a top 10 basketball team here in the state of Utah, and BYU's been hanging around that number all season long, and the number 9 Cougs yesterday absolutely putting a thumping on Danny Hurley's or Bobby Hurley. Yeah, it's Bobby Hurley, right? Yeah, yep. Bobby Hurley's ASU Sun Devils, and it was embarrassing for them. But 81 points between Richie Saunders, Rob Wright III, and AJ DeBonsa. Where is this team right now? Is there a couple games into league play?
They've gotten a lot better in Big 12 play. You know, when they closed out now in conference, they were having issues with slow starts, regardless of the opponent, whether it was Delaware, Eastern Washington, or, you know, Clemson. It didn't matter. They were always starting slow. In Big 12 play, they've kind of erased that so far. And it's been a little bit of a light schedule to open up Big 12 play. I think they faced 2 teams in Kansas State and Arizona State that I would expect are probably going to be in the bottom 6 spots in the deepest conference in America. And these are 2 talented teams still that you beat. I mean, there were guys on that Arizona State team, you know, 7'1", 6'11", 6'10", huge front court, and you didn't have Keba Keita, and you still just completely dominated that team. This is a great BYU team. And it's kind of surprising too, how despite being in the top 10 from the preseason poll to now, people are still kind of just sleeping on this BYU team. And I'm sure Kevin Young and this squad like that. It's not like football where you need to almost win the perception battle. We see the daily metrics. BYU is in the thick of everything that they want to accomplish this season. But I think what's been impressive is that this big 3 of sorts with AJ and Rob Wright and Richie Saunders, they can just dominate games and completely outscore an opponent. I think what's been impressive too is that the 3-point shot, when it's falling like it did last night, they knocked down 45% of their threes for only the 4th time this season. When they are hitting shots like that at a high clip, they are almost going to be unstoppable, even in this conference, which is outstanding. So this is a really good team. And I think BYU is underrated defensively as well with the addition of Bidu Ahmed from the G League ranks. It's a good squad. And I just think they're only getting better as the season goes along. Whereas, and it's just going to be fun to watch, see how this develops in the toughest league in America.
Yeah, they have a big 3 that would rival any in the country. And my question about BYU is, do they have enough depth to finally break through and get to that Final Four? How is that developing right now?
The front court, it feels like because of Abdullah Bidu Ahmed, they call him Bidu on the team, his nickname. But the addition of him feels like the front court is in a great position. Now, the guard line, that's still, I don't know if you have anyone that you can consistently count on that bench. But the front court, though, with Ahmed there, because you still have Hadim Boop, who's a redshirt freshman, who's given some nice contributions off the bench, and it was a second 5-man yesterday in the win over Arizona State. I think BYU feels pretty good about that front court. It's the other spots. If you got to make sure Rob Wright, AJ, Richie stay healthy, because the second unit to try to replace those guys, that's a big drop off. But after Keita, you feel really good about where BYU's at in the front court there. So that's still a little bit of a to be determined as the level of competition continues to increase when you get kind of into the heart of Big 12 play.
Mitch Harper, he's our BYU insider for KSLSports.com. Mitch, quick prediction on this Ole Miss Miami game, the semifinal that's playing on a Thursday. Of course, they don't want to get in the way of the NFL on the weekend because we know who's king. But this is kind of a fun one between 2 teams we didn't think would be here.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited. I'm going with the Hurricanes, Miami. I'll go with them. I mean, once I had them number 1 in the country in the Football Writers Association poll that I'm part of, I've believed in their talent, but I kind of faded them after they lost to SMU, but they're bouncing back. That defense how they played against Ohio State defensively, I think if that shows up again, I think they'll crush Ole Miss if that defense plays the way they did against Ohio State. So I'm going to go with the U.
Mitch, thanks for being with us, man. We'll talk with you again. As always, thanks for being a part of this show. We love having you on.
You bet. Guys, take care.
Thanks, Mitch.
Nobody better than Mitch Harper covering this team in this market. Yeah, so it's all good news today. You know, I was talking to somebody. They
Great.
go, "Oh
It's
man,
great to be a Cougar right now."
Well,
My goodness.
I was talking to somebody today, and they're like, "Oh man, you guys must be super busy this time of year." I go, "Actually, yeah, I guess, but there are no games being played. The busy part is just all the bull crap going on behind the scenes, and that's what it is too, by the way. And we pretend like it's I say pretend. We get into it, and we get excited about the developments off the field, but like." Good news is we got a couple days of games at least, and like I said, the NFL's wild card weekend is going to bail us all out of.
I can't wait.
Some garbage that we're going to get the rest of the way here. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Take a break. Appreciate Mitch joining us. We'll come back. We have more around the corner. We've got our NFL Blitz. We've got also tons going on because guess what? Jazz are at home tonight. So we'll get you up to date, of course, as they make a quick turnaround and make the trip back to Delta Center to get things kicked off tonight. So the Mavericks are in town. Is what's his name available? Cooper Flag? You got to keep listen. If you're on the injury report as a rookie and it says rest beside your name,
I'll tell you which rookie's not available.
Ace Bailey's still out.
He's going to be out tonight.
Yeah, I mean, last night he was available, and then we were like, oh, nice 10 minutes, 2 points. He really wasn't available. But hey, Walt Clay Jr. had a nice game. We'll talk about that and much more. Stay here, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
You know what's coming.
Your daily deep dive into everything Utah Jazz.
It's time.
All season long and even in the off season. It's Jazz Daily with JJ and Alex on your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Is Parker air guitaring in there? Is that what's going on?
He should be.
Nice. You and JJ should get together in your air guitar group.
Whammy
There's nobody else. I know nobody else air guitars more than JJ. Parker comes in and goes,
KSL
hold on.
Sports Zone air guitar band.
But see, you are kind of more of a air bass guy. Lead guitar, Parker. Boom.
I'm on video
Are
right
you
now.
a game for it? Could you do it? I don't know if you could pull it off. I don't know if you're talented enough to pull off the fake guitar, man.
Slapping the bass.
See? I'm telling you. Welcome back to the program. Oh, we got some breaking news in the college football world. Let's jump in right here from the transfer portal desk. JJ's got some news. I told him, don't tell me. I like to get it just along with everybody else. What do we have coming off of the college football breaking news desk?
We have two local athletes have made their transfer portal decision. The first one, a shocker. Former Utah All-American John Henry Daly is committed to Michigan.
What?
I know, right? Of all places, how'd he land there?
Man, it's going to be
Pretty
awesome.
wild.
But he's not playing in 2026, right? It's going to have to be a 2027 deal.
He says he will be back. I'll be shocked. Coming back from, and we're assuming is a
Bring
serious
Cam
Achilles
Rising
injury.
back. Oh.
Hey,
The
John
amount
Henry
of-
Daly says he'll be ready to go in 2026, so good luck to him.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess in like December, maybe. When did he get hurt? It was the second to last
It was
game
Kansas
of the season,
State,
right?
early
yeah.
in the Kansas State game.
So, yeah, that's not a.
I would be shocked if he's back by the camp.
If I'm him, I don't want to get back quick.
He doesn't need to. He's proven. He's
I
an
know.
All-American. at this
Yeah,
point.
so
if he can get back in September next year, their non-conference schedule is always
they're
going to
not
be
gonna-
light.
there's no way, man. Oh, I don't know.
I don't
I'm
know.
not
That's 9-10 months.
yeah, not a doctor. I don't
10
know.
months,
yeah.
11
Isn't it funny
months?
that now the 9-month deal is everyone's like, well, you should get back at 9 months. It's like Achilles is devastating, man.
If he
That's a
does the
ton.
work, I know it's hard to believe. And he's a bigger guy, obviously. You'd think that could impact things. So I don't know.
University of Michigan's got a good medical school. Somebody can figure it
Yeah.
out for him. Come on.
That wasn't the only guy that's in the transfer.
Tell me who
but
else. I love it. Bring it on.
Do we need to play the music again?
Nah, I mean, sure.
Why not?
We've got it.
Yeah, there we go.
I just lament that there's no guitar in it to watch you and Parker go off, man. Just that you guys are so talented together.
What instruments are being played in this music? You're a band guy. What are we hearing there?
I think there's some timpani in there. Is that trumpet? Yeah, some fake trumpet. Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
funny. Anyway, nice arrangement. Former BYU and Utah State quarterback McKay Hillstead has made his
Where's he
transfer
headed?
portal
Where is
decision.
he headed?
He's going back to Logan.
Hey, now, there you
McKay
go.
Hillstead is committed to Utah State. He's going back to the Aggies.
Throw away all that creamery ice cream you had in your freezer, McKay. Head back up there and start getting that Aggie light blue mint ice cream, man.
He
Let's
missed
get
it.
going. Isn't that funny? Like the era that we're in now, of I'm coming back to that other place, you know? And what a weird thing, you know? He left, he went to BYU, and the thought was, and I'm telling you, when Jake Retzlaff announced that he had to be gone, he called up mom and dad, I bet, and went, this is my shot.
Oh, if Vegas had odds on who was going to be the BYU starting quarterback this year, McKay Hilstead would have had the best odds.
So,
but I will say this: I think I get McKay Hilstead's choice to initially leave Utah State. I understood it because remember he's a Utah County guy. He grew up in the shadow of BYU, and the chance to go to BYU and the opportunity to go to BYU and try to win that starting job would have been a dream come true for him. But I think after it didn't work out, he's like, you know what? I had a really good situation up at Utah State. I'd love to go back, and I think that he'd be a great fit up there. It's going to be really interesting to see who wins the starting quarterback job at Utah State next year, who they maybe other players they bring in the portal, what that competition looks like, because I think they're building something up there. And Pac-12 play starts for the Aggies next year with this new, shiny Pac-12 that they've put together. The quality of football in that league is going to be better than the Mountain West. I'm really curious to see, who their quarterback is going to be at Utah State next year, and what leap does Bronco Mendenhall's Aggies take in year 2? And I expect there to be a leap.
This one also just came down the pipe as well. Looks like Utah's going to get their quarterback coach figured out. Utah set to hire veteran quarterback coach Ryan Gunderson as the new quarterbacks coach coming in from Oregon State. He's previously coached at UCLA and San Jose as well. That's according to Pete Thamel, so good source there. He was the OC, by the way, at Oregon State the last couple of years.
It's a good hire. That's a great hire.
I wouldn't have put that down on the resume.
So Morgan Scalley, a little quiet hire there, but a very, very solid hire to bring in somebody with that kind of resume to be your quarterback coach. I like Morgan's staff. I think Morgan's done a terrific job building that.
All right, let's get to the Jazz now. Awesome game for this Utah Jazz team last night. That's about as well as it can go to force the defending champs into overtime, have a shot of winning that game. You heard Will Hardy on the way in say, look, I'm so proud of these guys. If they compete like that against teams, including the best team in the league right now, although they're playing kind of poorly, how have they been playing? It hasn't been phenomenal.
That's fair. The Thunder, if the Thunder are having a struggle, that's what they're going through.
They're trying to figure themselves out a little bit.
If that team can struggle at all, they are.
Yeah. So, but SGA goes for 47. And if you told me, hey, SGA has 47 against the Jazz at home this week, what do you think the score was? You'd have said, yeah, probably like 113-90.
Yeah.
You know? Instead, they fight this thing out to the end, and it's like automatic now, JJ. 29 from Lowry, 25 from Key. How about Walt Clayton Jr. coming off the bench with 15 points? And so they're getting as consistent a play out of their best players as they've gotten all season long, and they're doing it against really, really good teams now. And you walk away with a loss there. You pointed out in our show prep, you're like, man, they're playing so well, and yet they're like, what is it, 4-11 in their last 15 or something like that?
They've lost 8 of 10. They've lost 5 in a row.
But like that, it doesn't feel like lost 5 in a row.
No,
right?
Because you're seeing improvement overall from the team. You're seeing Keontae George play at a star level. You're seeing Larry Markkinen looking like he's going to be an all-star. You're seeing some of these young guys like Walt Clayton having moments. It's been tough to see Ace Bailey out. This is a moment in time where you want to see Ace Bailey having these kind of nights where he wows us and shows us what the future looks like. There's a lot of guys that have really stepped up and are playing. Bryce Sensabaugh, that dunk last night, nasty. Like, I didn't know he had that in him, but he's been showing that recently. So many developments with this team and some of these young guys developing. So if you're a Jazz fan, it's the best of both worlds right now because it's clear this team is getting better. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. You can see Keontae George emerging as a star. You see a lot of these young guys showing growth. They have some vets that if they need to, they can move before the deadline to find some more assets or to create some space to do whatever. They got a ton of cap space in the summertime. But the thing that everyone's worried about is, well, they're going to win so much that they're not going to be able to be in the lottery. Well, at this point, they're right back in that mix. They have the 6th worst record in the NBA right now. They've been jumped by the Hornets, Clippers, and Mavericks. So during the stretch of 8 of last 10 losing, despite playing good basketball, the Jazz are in that bottom 6, and the Nets are hot on their heels. By the way, the Nets, Michael Porter Jr. has been amazing. And Yegor Demon is on fire right now.
Isn't that wild?
Yegor is having an outstanding
Good for
rookie
him.
season. He looks great with the Nets. So the Nets are only technically the Nets and the Jazz are tied in the standings. So the Jazz are almost at the bottom 5, and now the Washington Wizards get Trae Young in that trade. The Wizards are going to start winning some games. So for fans that are worried about this lottery situation, it's all working itself out. The Jazz will be bottom 4 in the league before you know it.
I saw the great. I love that. I love that attitude. And look, they're going to be fighting for the bottom of the league in no time.
Don't worry.
Gosh dang it. I was watching all this thing go down, which, by the way, Eli Manning on the field.
Ray Lewis
for Miami.
Coin flip. Pretty cool.
That's
Edgerrin James.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
That's pretty sweet.
So what color blue is that? And by the way, Ole Miss wearing the alternates is interesting, right? But is that a robin egg blue? What do we call that? Just like a sky blue? I don't know what we call powder blue. It seems like it's a little too dark for powder blue, but
it is powder blue. That's their powder blue alternates. They typically wear navy and red.
Yeah.
That is their powder blue alternate.
I like it. It's a good look.
It looks sharp. It is a nice look.
Eli on hand. That's nice.
All right, you can't beat the classic Miami look. Got to be honest.
By the way, I know. And think about that's a color scheme you wouldn't imagine working.
Orange and green.
Bright orange. It's not even green. It's like that evergreen.
It only works in Miami.
Yeah.
That doesn't work in
anywhere else on the planet. No. Who is it that it's like? Oh yeah, Florida A&M rolls out the Rattlers, and you're like, ew.
Nah, gross. Miami wears it. Classic.
I know. All right, we'll take a break. Jazz and Mavericks tonight over at Delta Center. We'll get you ready for that one next. Pregame starting up at 6 o'clock. Stay here, 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Man, second play of the game, one of Miami's defensive linemen.
That's not good.
Oh, boy. Achilles, maybe?
Yeah, that's
honestly.
like. Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like.
Second play of the game.
That's too bad.
Man, you get ready for this thing, and then you don't just have something end. You have, we'll see, he's walking off actually pretty.
He's pulling a Kobe. He's going to go shoot the free throw.
Well, he's walking off the field.
He's in not in good shape, though.
Okay, all right. That's what I said about me. Boy, he's not in good shape.
It's been said about me as well.
It has nothing to do with
But it had nothing to do with an Achilles injury.
All right. Utah Jazz facing off against the Dallas Mavericks tonight over here at Delta Center. Looks like Nurk is going to be out. Looks like Ace Bailey's going to be out. So there's your update from the guys who we've been wondering exactly what the deal is going to be. But I don't know what Nurk's long-term situation is. Ace is kind of like close, obviously, because they had him play last night. We only played 10 minutes, but where's this Jazz team?
It's the second out of back-to-back, so they're probably being very cautious with Ace.
Yeah, and I get it. I mean, but what happens tonight here at Delta Center? The Mavericks coming to town. Last time they played, it was like 170 to 171.
It was a great game.
Awesome
Cooper Flagg was the story, and everyone around the country was talking about Cooper Flagg because he scored like 40.
Yeah.
But it was Keontae George that was the actual better player on the court, and the Jazz won the game. So I love the matchup. We'll see what happens this time around. I hope it's as exciting as the first one. The Jazz right now are playing good basketball. They pushed the Thunder to the brink yesterday. I thought that the Jazz were going to get blown out like crazy because the Thunder were disappointed over the way they played the previous game at home, and the Thunder are a little down right now, which is weird for them. But the Jazz really responded well and fought and pushed it to the very end. I kind of like the Jazz chances tonight against the Dallas Mavericks team that has been very inconsistent this year.
There are moments where you have like years with this Jazz team. This is one of those years where you go, okay, this is not going to be a phenomenal year from a wins-losses perspective, but you find out a lot about who these young guys are. Walt Clayton Jr. comes in and has a nice game last night, and I was like, that guy is just – there have been moments this year he's been one of the more solid guys to come in. And you think about all the people they've been just giving so many chances to. I'm looking at Cody Williams, and you just go, hey, when are you going to develop? And then Walt Clayton Jr. comes in and just shows this like stability when he comes into these games. Is he one of those nice stories for now and you don't see him on this team in the future, or does he have a place with this team?
Oh, yeah. First-round pick, by the way, so he's got a guaranteed contract. Yeah. Who was the best player in the NCAA tournament last year? Yeah. And it wasn't even close. It was Walt Clayton Jr. in the Florida
tournament MVP.
Gators won the national championship, and then he came into the preseason for the Jazz, and he looked exactly like that guy. And then this season, obviously your rookie year, there's ups and downs, there's highs and lows, but when given the opportunity, he's been pretty solid. He had that incredible dunk last week that went viral, and then last night played really good. Right now, he's going through a stretch where he's playing high-level basketball. And I think Walt Clayton, what's his place? What's his role with Keontae kind of solidifying that point guard spot? I don't know. But I feel like he's definitely a part of their future and somebody who's going to continue to get better. Obviously, he's a little bit older. Like you mentioned, Cody Williams. Walt Clayton's older than Cody Williams. So you judge Cody Williams differently because he got to the league earlier, but Walter Clayton's more experienced, played in bigger games, bigger opportunities, been in a leadership position, so you should expect more from Walt Clayton Jr., and he's delivering that with the Jazz. He's been impressive, and he's absolutely a part of their future.
Quick best worst, kind of we'll wrap it into one thing here. Mike McDaniels loses his gig, just like we predicted. Is that a move?
I was surprised it didn't happen during the season.
Is that a pre-move to just be like, please, John Harbaugh, join our staff?
Wasn't he? Please. They were one of the teams that were talking to Harbaugh before they actually officially fired McDaniel.
Right.
So where does John Harbaugh want to coach? Does he want to coach in Miami or New York? He's got his pick.
Jim Harbaugh is like, I hope he goes to the NFC. Which, fine. I think it's great. But Mike McDaniel got the
that started good. He turned things around, had the offense going, and Tua had that big year before the contract, but it did not end well. The Dolphins were not good.
Jazz Mavericks coming up right now. Your pregame firing up right here on 97.5 BKSL Sports Zone. We'll see you next time, everybody.